Listen, all you New Yorkers. Taxi. Okay, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
All righty, Lionel with you, and this is The Other Side of Midnight. And I don't even know where, I know where to start. But I'm going to tell you that these past 2 days, the victories regarding Citizens Against AI, Meta, et al. Are nothing short of incredible. Beyond incredible. Beyond anything I've ever even seen. On behalf of my beloved wife, we are both, yesterday when the verdict came in, we were ecstatic. And it's not the amount, 6 million, 3 million in compensatories, 3 in punies, 6 total. I mean, that's not it. The issue, why this is important, is that it dealt with the breaking of this barrier. See, because the arrogance of these people, the arrogance is what this was about. And by the way, before we begin, let's not forget that I don't think anybody is against AI or computers or big tech. And that's not it. That's not the story. There is this arrogance, this idea that you don't need to tell us what to do. In fact, you don't even bother. I'm Sam Altman. I'm Mark Zuckerberg. The hell with you. I do whatever I want. You don't understand. We're in charge, not you. And whenever I hear people suggest that there are lobbies in the world that own Congress, and you know what I'm talking about, on their best day, nothing can compare as to how this Congress, and in some respects, I'm sorry to say this, some portions of this administration are owned lock, stock, and smoking barrel. Not because of the fact that people are deliberately complicit, but because they don't know any better. So let's strip this down to brass tacks, as it were. Because the real story is not the headlines. It's what the juries actually found and why that matters. Let's start with California. A jury looked at Meta platforms and YouTube and said something we have not heard before in a courtroom setting like this. They said that these platforms were negligent, not careless, not imperfect, negligent. And that word changes everything because negligence means duty. And that means obligation. It means these companies are no longer just platforms where users wander freely. It means that they built something, and that something can cause harm. And by the way, whenever you talk about the notion of negligence involves 4 elements you always have to prove. There has to be a duty, a standard of care. There has to be a breach of that. There has to be damages. And the breach has to be the proximate cause of that damage. That's it. Foreseeability is that 5th one. For all you lawyers out there, the Paul's graph test, but we're not going to get into that. Negligence means duty. Negligence means obligation. It means these companies are no longer just platforms where you can just saunter on in, look up, and then that's it. Because they owed something. They built something. They knew it that could cause harm. And they had the whistleblowers, and they had the behind-the-scenes information and the data, and the juries agreed with that. And they zeroed in on design, not content, design, infinite scroll, autoplay, likes and notifications that hit the brain like a slot machine. These are not features by accident. These are engineered systems meant to keep people hooked. And then comes the harder truth. The evidence showed these systems knew that minors were especially vulnerable. They knew it. And they kept optimizing anyway. More engagement, more time, more dependency, no meaningful safeguards, no real breaks. And then the silence. The companies didn't warn users. They didn't come forward and say that this may harm you. Internal research suggested mental health risks. They knew this. They had the receipts. And that research was downplayed. So now you have a product with known risks and known warning. That is classic liability. And here is the turning point. The jury accepted these platforms that they owe a duty of care, especially to minors. That cracks the foundation. Now we shift to New Mexico. This one goes even further. In this case, a jury found that Meta platforms violated state law in a case involving child exploitation. Not just negligence, but violation. And the issue here was not theory, it was conduct. You see, the platform allowed known or suspected predators to remain active. Reports came in, action was slow, or not taken at all. And that's not passive, that's failure. That's non-feasance. Okay? Misfeasance, malfeasance, non-feasance. Okay? Failure. And that comes from something called the algorithm. The algorithm. The system wasn't neutral. It recommended connections. It surfaced content. It made it easier for bad actors to find victims. That crosses a line because now the platform is not just hosting, it's facilitating. And the safeguards, weak, inefficient, easy to bypass. Age verification didn't hold, and they knew this. Reporting systems didn't protect, and they knew this. Tools existed, but enforcement was inconsistent at best. They knew this, and this was by design. And behind it all, the same pressure. Engagement, growth, metrics. Safety came second when it interfered with usage. Juries didn't like that equation. So what do we have? California says you designed something addictive and harmful. New Mexico says you failed to stop something dangerous and illegal that you knew was dangerous and illegal. Different paths, same destination. And this is the shift. Because for years, big tech said, we don't create the harm, users do. It's their fault. If the parents were paying attention, they'd have nothing to worry about. Now juries are saying, you built a system that makes the harm predictable. This is not small change. This is a legal earthquake. Because once platforms are seen as products, then everything changes. Everything changes. Products can be defective, products can be dangerous, and companies that build them can be held responsible. And that is exactly what's happening. And for the first time in a long time, the untouchable is starting now to look very reachable. And this is the greatest thing ever. This is the greatest thing ever. And all they had to do was just pay attention and just care. And remember, all of the information, all of the data, all of the files, all of the memos, everything that was provided, everything was from insiders. This wasn't just a jury thought. They knew this. Remember during the tobacco research, during the tobacco cases, they said that a cigarette is basically a delivery system of nicotine. And that was the way it was phrased. And they knew exactly what would happen. And they hid this. They knew this. They wanted you to get hooked. They wanted you. They made sure things got hooked. They wanted to make sure that burn rates were faster so you smoked more. They did everything, knowing what would happen. Knowing what would happen. That's precisely what happened. Remember when, during the COVID era, there was allegations of gain of function. Remember this? The idea was that they had the COVID virus, the SARS-CoV-2 or whatever it was, and that they juiced it, they turbocharged it, they elevated it, they raised it. And when they raised it, they supercharged it, they added to it, they made it more lethal, more dangerous. Remember that? That's exactly what happens. Exactly what happened here. This was incredible. And they don't know what to do right now. Because remember, it's not the money. It's the fact that you just opened the page or window. And don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if all of a sudden you see like Morgan & Morgan or somebody says, has your child been injured by this? Have you? Watch what happens. And all they have to do is just take into account just making it safer for kids, not doing anything whatsoever to limit your ability to enjoy whatever it is you were enjoying. This is a grand and a great day. And those people knew it. They were, and there's something about these folks. There's something about, I don't know what it is, Palantir. When I heard this week Peter Thiel talk about transhumanism and the Antichrist, they're in this power trip. They are on top of the world. They are the richest people ever. Nobody even knows the amount of their wealth. Nobody really can tell. You're not really sure. I mean, after a while, when you get, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 billion, I mean, who knows? Who knows? And they don't think that they're merely just wealthy, but that they run the world, that they're invincible, that they're gods. And Palantir, you ain't seen nothing yet. That's going to detail weapon systems where individuals are going to be targeted, homes and blocks and people with last names and people with certain ethnicities are going to be hit and targeted based upon a variety of metadata. I don't want to get too much into this. But the hardest part that I have had, and my wife has had, believe it or not, is trying to explain to people what this is. It's the most difficult thing I've ever done. I can explain a lot of things. You see, for the most part, and this may kind of sound cruel, but for the most part, most people, most news systems, most cable news systems work on maybe a third grade level in terms of the quality of the information, the depth of the stories, the depth. What you see is absolutely inundated with B-roll. Just B-roll. Their idea, most people, let's face it, people don't read. Most people get their information from video and from cable and the like. And what they do is they have the same 5 people over and over again, and they will inundate you and blast you with blasts of B-roll. But there's no such thing as depth. They don't explain what things mean to you. So this is no different. And the problem that we have is we also have schools and individuals who actually, believe it or not, find themselves in the position of this permanent incuriosity, not wanting to understand the bigger picture. You see, most people like to hang around a group and say the same thing that members of the group say. It's a shibboleth. It's a rite. It's a repetition. It's a mantra. It's what they say. It's what we say. It's an expression. It's it's something that shows my inclusion, my membership in the group, in the passel, whatever you want to call it. So we've got to break through this and say, let me start from scratch. Because up till now, this is not about computers. This is not about, the internet. This is about something else. This is about rewiring your brain. In the fast food industry, what they do is they will always take 3 things: savory, sweet, and sour. Also fat, pigweed. And they mix that together. And they know exactly what it is you will be addicted to. They know exactly what it is. And they want you to be addicted. When I say addicted, I mean really doing, enjoy something. But this isn't potato chips. This is about understanding the way children work. And let me also tell you, we haven't even gotten to the AI portion of this yet. Oh, that's next. These are just systems. These are just regular platforms themselves. But wait until we get into the area of AI, where a child will be coaxed to kill themselves, or a child through a bot will be told, you're not loved, you're not special, you're not important. Hey, where does your mom and dad, where do they keep the knives? I'll show you how to kill yourself. And we can even write a note. I'll write the note for you because you're worthless and nobody wants you and nobody loves you. Think I'm exaggerating? You know how many times this has happened? But that's next. And the speed and the celerity of which that is addressed is going to be made possible by this week's 2 big victories.